Good evening, ladies and gents. Welcome to LogiCast, the Logical Gamers podcast. I'm Esoteric. I'm here with BlankaKong, Gunna Eos, Pato Wolf, and Zeta Kaiser. And today we're going to be discussing our thoughts on Pokemon Legends Arceus. The game came out, I would say, approximately last Friday, if I'm not mistaken.
About a week.
And I've been streaming it, and I gotta say, overall, I'm having a outstanding time with the game. Now within this particular panelist, we all have different stages of progression throughout the game. So we're going to discuss our point of views based upon our progression from least to most, which is pretty much finished. And I would say I would have the least progression within this game. So I'm just gonna give you some pros and cons of what I enjoyed and what I think the game could have improved on. Okay. So one of the things I really appreciated about the game, spoke about this in a 2 minute 2 cents video. You guys can look at it on the YouTube channel. Um, but one of the things I really enjoyed about the game was the real time combat. I'm pretty sure whether it was during Red and Blue or during your Pokemon journey of like playing all the different games, this has always been something that I dreamed of, like wanting the game to kind of feel like the cartoons in a sense, being able to catch Pokemon in real time, being able to battle in real time, etc. Um, so the game definitely delivered on that front. You're able to traverse through an entire field. You see different types of Pokemon. You're able to catch them without having to engage in battle. You're able to outwit them by utilizing different items to kind of like feed them, get them distracted or aggravated. And that's a nice implement for the game. I felt like they pretty much took like a compilation of Safari Zone qualities along with X and Y build in terms of like that open field and kind of elaborated on it and made it better. Um one of the things that I also liked about the game is that the game shares a lot of similarities of another game that we like to play, which is Monster Hunter. It's like you have a field where you can raise crops. You have your own quarters where you can like put items in. You can combine items as well. And even like minor details such as going to the main hall to acquire missions and whatnot. It shares a lot of similarities within the Monster Hunter games. Um, okay, another thing as well. Pokemon have different temperaments, which kind of shows character between different Pokemons. You have some that are docile, such as Bidoof. They just walk up to you and pretty much don't care about their awareness, so to speak. You have Starlies who are like, very aware and they'll run away from you. And then you have agitated Pokemon such as Shinx who, when they see you, they have their guard up ready to fight. Um, so yeah, those are the couple of things I liked about the game. Some of the things that I felt that they could have improved on, which has always been an issue of mine, was like the pasture, which is similar to the Pokemon PC. They did improve on it in a sense of being able to release Pokemon in bulk. That was like amazing. I really liked that aspect of it. However, to my knowledge, from where I played, there's no sort feature. I feel like if they had that implemented within the game, it would be easier to organize my Pokemon, kind of see what their stats are, things of that nature. Um, uh, Starting the game also, what they could have improved on, it had a lot of long, drawn out dialogue. I was kind of getting bored at certain points because it was just nothing but reading and tutorials. I am a gamer of old. I like to figure shit out sometimes. So they kind of like had too much drawn out text for me to read. Um, And I would say another thing too would be not having real time Pokeball throwing. Now what I mean by that is when you're engaged in battle, you have to go to your items in order to utilize the Pokeballs. I felt like they should have kept it seamless in a sense of like as your Pokemon is battling, you can throw the Pokeball by like switching with X and just picking it up and throwing it free flow. So there's that. And just another thing that didn't make or break the game, but I felt like they could have added it was just certain things that catered to the time and setting of Pokemon Arceus. For example, when you acquire Pokemon, your Pokedex is filled out with photographs. I felt like it would have been more appealing if they utilize drawings. Like if you had the Pokemon Scout went out there, saw the Pokemon, engaged in it, did a couple of sketches of the Pokemon within the Pokedex, and then as you filled out the Pokedex, that drawing became more and more detailed to the form of a photograph. I felt like that would have been really interesting. Um, and another thing as well, weather implementation. So the game does give you rain, but so far, based off again what I've played, it doesn't have different weather elements for different Pokemon to come out, like winter, um, you know, and things of that nature. So yeah, pretty much different seasons, yes. Um, so yeah, that's just a couple of things that I thought about that were good and could have been improved on. As we further discuss, some other things probably would pop in my head as well. But yeah, what were your thoughts on it, Kong? Because you were the next one in terms of progression. Like you're a little bit further than I am.
Sure. So I thought you would have more to say about Pokemon, but I'm sure you do, but I guess you'll come up with more stuff as we kind of go through our list. So I'm gonna start with
Yeah,
my pros and then go into my cons. But before I do that, I just want to kind of make it clear like where I am in the game. I have like 66 hours playtime in the game so far. I have not finished the game, and I have not explored past the first zone or the first continent or the first side of the game because I'm the completionist side of my brain is activating, and I can't leave until everything is 100%. So that's just how I play a lot of games. Like I just like let me just do everything here and then move on. So I only have the deer mount. I don't have the swimming mount. I don't. I've only fought the first boss, the Scyther evolution cleaver. Like that's as far as I've gotten. I did unlock the second area, but I did not explore it at all yet. So just to be clear, that's where I am in the game. Not because I can't finish the game, but because of just the way I'm playing it.
Damn
So some of my
completionist.
say again.
I said you damn completionist.
I don't know, man. I'm having fun playing that way.
I
So
mean that's
that's
what Pokemon is essentially. So gotta catch
in
them
a
all.
way it depends. Like it differs for some people, you know.
Yeah,
But okay, so some of the pros. Um, I love the movement of the character in the overworld. So smooth movement, with the exception of like moving near walls and mountainsides. That's where it gets really fucking jank. But besides that, like just open world moving around and your character animations, um, I think are pretty good. Like at least they're not great animations, but they're smooth. They're fun to just kind of engage in. So I love the smooth movement. Catching is quick and fun. So it's not like this long process of like steps that you have to do in order to catch Pokemon. It's you know just throw your ball and that's kind of it. Different ways to catch Pokemon. So there you can catch Pokemon the classic way by initiating a battle. You can catch Pokemon by sneaking up behind them, right, and catching them from the grass. Or you could do what I call human versus Pokemon real time catching or Monster Hunter style catching, where like you can actually engage the Pokemon, the wild Pokemon, without your Pokemon, and just fight them. Well, not fight them, but engage them with tools. So you can throw like a spoiled acorn to stun them, and then you can like run behind them and then throw a Pokeball at their back, which is like a critical capture or whatever. I love that. That's so much fun. I if I'm gunning to catch like aggressive Pokemon, I do it that way. I don't sneak in the grass, and I only do that for like timid Pokemon. So if I'm gonna catch like shinks, for example, I just run up to those fuckers and just start throwing acorns at them because it's just funner that way. To me, at least. Another.
Do the same thing.
Listen. It's how I play the game, man. It's how I have fun. Okay, just making sure my sound is still good. All right. Mass releasing Pokemon in boxes. So Esoteric mentioned this. The fact that you could finally fucking release more than one Pokemon at a time is a godsend. It should have been in the game decades ago, but whatever. It's here now. I'll take it. Pokedex entry being more in depth. Basically like the tasking, like catch 25 of this, kill 20 of that, see this Pokemon perform this move 10 times, whatever. Like I know that can be a little taxing and it is padding, I will admit. But I kind of enjoy that aspect of the Pokedex filling out the Pokedex. Esoteric also mentioned the Pokemon behaviors, which I also enjoy. So he mentioned some are timid, others are aggressive, and some are mixed bags. So some of the examples, Starly's very timid. Like if you run up to Starly, he's gonna just like bolt out of there. So you have to sneak up on Starly. Shanks is very aggressive. So the moment he sees you, he's attacking you. Wormpole and Bidoof are like they're mixed because they can run away from you, but they'll also attack you. So it's kind of like a 50-50 with them. Okay. And then a unique, or what I call unique, is something like Mr. Mime. So Mr. Mime, if he sees you, he won't run away and he won't attack you. He'll troll you instead. So he'll put up his barrier. So if you try to throw like acorns at him or throw Pokeballs, he'll just put up his barrier. And if you try to run behind him, he'll like position himself to put his barrier up in front of you, so you can't really sneak up. And if you try to run away and sneak, he'll follow you and he'll just walk around you and just put up the barrier. So like I love that. When I found that, I was like, wow, what is this guy doing? Like he's so like I had to run super far away to get to like to get rid of the aggro so that I can approach him again, because he just wouldn't stop following me. He just following me and just putting up the barrier and just like looking at me, and I'm like, wow, you're a fucking troll. I love it though, because it's what Mr. Mime is. And the last pro is Pokemon mounts. So I've only unlocked one, but I love how seamless it is. It's not like a long animation to summon the deer, or like it's instant. Like you summon it, you get off of it, you summon it, you get off of it. I love how fast it is. So those are my pros. My cons, this is kind of a long list. Graphics, textures, pop and loading could all be significantly better. This game looks like a Wii game, let's be real. I think it looks okay, it's acceptable, but it's like it's at almost the bare minimum of what we could deem acceptable for a AAA title.
It's fine coming from anybody not Pokemon.
Right. Yeah, like it straddles that line really closely in my opinion. Unengaging human animations during cutscenes. So the animations for humans in this game are atrociously bad. And they even have like, I wish I was streaming it because I said it out loud and it would have been a funny line to say on stream. They have that classic block hand animation when characters are handing other characters items from Resident Evil 1.
That's like that GTA fucking Resident Evil 1 shit.
Bro, yeah, I couldn't even. You didn't even have to animate that in the first fucking place. You could have just, if the character's giving me an item, you could have just put up a text screen saying you received whatever. You didn't have to do block hand animation because it just looks bad. Overworld town NPCs feel static and dead. So the characters, the villagers, and the quest givers do not move. They never sleep. Yeah. They don't like do anything. It's very static, which is common for Pokemon games. Because they're all that way, but because this is a 3D open world game, air quotes, open world game, like it doesn't even have like the characters don't even walk around, right? So it's like like it just feels very static, which is a disappointment. Pokedex entry padding, I know that's kind of in my pros section, but it's also bad because there are some that are like ridiculously long and like not fun. So not even that one. The one that pisses me off is like any of the evolutions, it's like do agile style with this Pokemon 70 times, and it's like, okay, that's a little excessive. Like I don't particularly care for the new battle mechanics, like that, at least that aspect of it. I don't care for it, but it eats 2 power points to do a move in agile or strong style, and you want me to do this 70 times. So even if I have like Swords Dance on my Pokemon and I do that, it has 20 PP or 20 power points. I can only do it 10 times before I have to either burn a Leopard Berry to refill it by 10 or go back to camp and recharge it, which it just it's too much padding and it's boring. So that's where it's like, all right, this is my limit. Like I can't. This is bad. I don't like this kind of padding because it's not fun. At least catching Pokemon and battling Pokemon is still kind of fun. So it's like, okay, I can fight 25 Golbat. That's okay. And there's at least the way I play, there's a way to fill out the entries by kind of stacking tasks. So it's like, okay, we need you to kill 25 Golbat with ice attacks, and then if I have a water Pokemon that has an ice move and his Pokedex is like, we need you to perform Ice Beam 20 times with this Pokemon, then it's like, okay, well, I can kind of like kill 2 birds with 1 stone. So I enjoy that part of it, but the agile and strong style stuff I don't care for. I only have 2 more. Collision detection is really bad in this game. I've tried to throw Pokeballs in between 2 trees to get a Pokemon. It was a perfect shot, and because the tree's fucking hitbox is like 2 times to 3 times bigger than the actual tree model, I miss, and then I alert the Pokemon, and then that's irritating to me. The collision detection needs work. And no voiceover and a bland story. So I understand that all Pokemon games don't have voiceovers, and I understand it is a budgetary reason as to why it doesn't exist, and it doesn't have to exist, but it's like, it's kind of expected from a AAA game these days, and it's been that way for a long time. So even Zelda has voiceover work now, and that was like the last big title that didn't have voiceover work for a long time, and they finally did it. And it's like, okay, they did it, I feel like y'all have to do it. Like, there's no excuse anymore. And then the story is like, it's not the worst story in the game I've ever experienced, but it's certainly not good. There's a fuck ton of plot holes and like things that don't quite make a lot of sense, even in the context of a Pokemon story.
I can't wait.
This guy's fucking salivating to go.
Guys,
I'm almost done. I swear I'm almost done.
Hot tag.
Yeah, I'm next to my tree, fucking rubbing my hands together.
So the story is really bad. It's not the worst, but it's certainly not even. I wouldn't even say it's good. So yeah, that's like my overall kind of like impressions of the game so far. I'm still having a lot of fun. That's the only reason I'm still playing this game, is because it is fun. The core gameplay loop is a lot of fun and very addicting.
I could agree
and
with
so that carries, like, I don't want to say 100, but it carries like 95% of the weight of everything else. So yeah, that's my overall thoughts. If I had to score the game, I would still give it like a 7.5 or an 8 because of the fun factor, but I can never give it a 9 or a 10 because it, again, the cons are too glaring and could have easily been fixed. And it's not like these guys don't have the money to fix it. They totally do. It's just they're penny pinching to make their bottom line as good as it can be. So anyway, I'm done talking. So
I gave it a 9 because of the core gameplay, because of what I expected.
That's fine. That's your score. I can't do it.
Yeah,
I can't do it.
That's fine.
So Zeta Kaiser,
I'm going to give it a 10 out of 10 so that we could get a Nintendo sponsorship. Best game Pokemon ever.
I cannot believe he said that.
Okay.
Jeez.
Miyamoto, call me up, man.
Look, I'll give my real opinions when we're off the podcast and nobody else is listening.
That's not fair. I gave my real opinions.
All right, but we're trying to get that Nintendo sponsorship.
No, we're not. No, we're not.
Chilling.
We don't even have viewership. Just ain't nobody listening to this anyway. We're doing this for fun.
Nah, man.
Go ahead, man.
10
Tell
years
us what
down
you're
the
rooting for.
line.
Hmm.
Nah, I was gonna do that anyways. But I don't really have pros because I feel like we'd all just be repeating the same pros. So I've kind of just put down the stuff that annoys me.
Fair enough.
So yeah, it's gonna get worse the further down the line we get, isn't it?
Mm-hmm.
That's why we have it set up the way that we do.
I know. So for me at least, one of the big negatives. It's not really a big negative. It's just very very annoying because I play a lot of RPGs. Is when you do a quest and they say they want that item. If the item is in the storage, it does not read it.
Oh,
Oh yeah.
lordy.
Oh yeah.
Does not
Yeah.
read it, and it drives me insane because it's just like I know I have the hot berry. Why are you telling me I do not have the hot berry? So I have to go all the way to the box, take out the
But
berries.
when you craft, you can craft from your storage. Makes no
Yeah,
fucking sense.
yeah. That drives me absolutely insane. But it is what it is. Um, I think Kong already talked about is about the animations and stuff, but it's not it's not bad because it's kind of expected from everything. I just find it funny when like things are in the distance, depending on what it is, they kind of just like they move in keyframes and then
Mm-hmm.
they get smoother as you get closer.
Yep.
So like
Pop and loading.
the first time I don't even know if it's pop and loading because like they're there, it just looks funny. Like I
Well, it
saw
doesn't load the full animation of like Gyarados flying in the sky or whatever.
yeah, he's like freaking snaking across. I'm just like, okay.
Yep.
It's like it's a negative, but I just found it
It's
hilarious.
mostly done to save on resources,
Yeah,
so
because
it's not so
it's not like
taxing.
other games don't do it or anything like that. So it's like I'm not gonna like hold this
Yeah.
like, strongly against them because everybody does that. That has this kind of thing where it's just like field of view is like we can only load so many things at once. But when you're in that in between and you can see it because it's mostly for the flying creatures because the stuff that's on the ground like they may be sleeping or doing nothing, so you don't really notice it. And ooh, the best worst thing I think I said earlier is the facial expressions. Because that surprised, shocked face. This is like it is the best worst thing that is like I think in whenever there's a character interaction. I know you said you don't like the block hand item exchange, but it's just like when they give you something, your character's just like, what? And
It is
they'll
pretty
just stand
funny though. I'm not gonna lie.
there. I love it. It's so terrible, but I love it so much. Because they'll stand there like that too. Like they'll be there. Like the character's like two paragraphs in, and your character's still there with his mouth open. Like, wow, he gave me a great ball. Like,
It,
bro, you can stop now.
it kind of remind me of Street Fighter 4 when you're about to do an ultra and you see like their face expression with their eyes popping out and their jaw just drop as they're about to get hit. That's what
Oh,
it reminds me of.
oh yeah, it's definitely getting close to that. So I am probably should have said this. I'm like I don't know, like slightly further than Kong and Esoteric. So I have the deer, the strong, independent deer. I have Ursa Luna, who is a questionable mount, to say the least. And I'm on I don't know if it's the third or the fourth area because I forgot what the Pokemon is called already. It's Lily something. I just finished beating that. And
Lilligan.
is that what it's called, or is that like
I think
or
it's
is that
Lilligan.
that's what it's
Yeah,
based
because
on?
it's a play
Yeah.
on elegant, so it's
Yeah.
Lilligant.
I think
Okay,
it's Lilligan.
so that was the last thing I did. So I have two mounts. I'm probably working on my third. I just have to
You're on your if you continue the story, you're on your way to the third area.
yeah, I'm over there. I just haven't. I got sidetracked by side
Things.
missions. Yeah. So I'm a little ways in. I've seen some areas. I've dealt with the well, they talk about them in the beginning anyways, the space distortions and stuff like that, which I really enjoy. I really like those when you see them. It's just like this giant rainbow all the way in the distance. You're like, oh, something cool is happening over there. Let's go.
Mm-hmm.
It takes a little while for it to activate. I don't know if there's like a timer on it or if you
I think it's a timer to help you get there if you're like on the other side of the map, but
okay,
Also
yeah,
uh,
helps you prepare. It also helps you
that
prepare. Yeah.
yeah.
all right, yeah, because like I'll book it over there and I'm just like just standing around like, all right, universe is collapsing next to me, but nothing's happening. But
Hmm.
but so I like those a lot. And the what is it called when there's like a mass amount of Pokemons in the area?
Outbreak.
Mass
Surge.
outbreak. Mass
Yeah,
outbreak.
Yeah, the mass outbreak. I like those as well because it gives you a chance to actually catch something that you want.
It
Obviously,
also
just
helps
ran.
fill out the Pokédex entry for catch 25 of a Pokemon,
Yeah,
because you can get
yeah.
like
So it really
15
helps
in
out.
one shot. Yeah.
And then they just come back and, like it could get a little bad if they're like aggressive because the ones I
Yeah.
Oh
had
yeah, that shit happened to me
was the
the other day.
Pikachu one, and they were just like, "Who the fuck are you?" It's like, "Oh well,
Them
I guess
haunters
I'm."
beat my ass, and then Rhyhorn
Gangsta
came out of nowhere.
Pikachu's.
Yeah, those they was not messing around. So I haven't had one. I imagine the opposite end of like the more skittish ones would be just as annoying because it's just like great, they're all running away. You're
Yeah.
just desperately trying to catch something. But so I don't know. I would have to wait for Wolf and Gunner to say. I don't know if there are any AoE moves because I enjoy the fact that you can fight multiple Pokemon, but I don't like the fact that I get beat up.
I
Like
completely forgot about that too.
there doesn't seem to be any AoE moves,
I don't
or at
think
least
there
for
is because I've used Rock Slide quite a bit. Don't work the way it used to.
And if
okay.
I'm not mistaken, isn't Swift a multi hit move?
Mm-hmm. I believe so. I believe if you use it in the tag team, it hits both.
I'm fairly
Yeah.
confident there are no AoE moves. Like
Okay.
90% confident.
I'm 100% confident there are no AoE moves. They
All
took
right.
out all the moves that made sense to be AoE to begin with. Like Earthquake is not in the game.
Oh, I
So
didn't even know
don't look for a Pokemon with Earthquake. It doesn't
Bulldoze
that.
for
exist.
life.
What about Razor Leaf?
Doesn't exist.
Wow. Okay.
So all the moves that we know, other than like say Rock Slide, I don't know how Rock Slide made it, but
Just an
a
oversight
lot of the
because they got rid
moves
of Earthquake.
it could well they replaced like bull like Kong said it, Bulldoze
Bulldoze
replaces
replaces
Earthquake,
Earthquake. Yeah.
right? But go on, please. Yes, just go on.
I know you're waiting for your turn. No, I wasn't sure if there were AoE moves or not, so that was just like,
No, there are absolutely zero AoE moves.
okay, so yeah, you just gotta deal with getting gang banged. All right,
And
that's
the
fine.
fact that the other guys can use Agile Style and get 2 turns before you even get to move, times that by
Yeah,
3 Pokemon, it's like, dude, these guys hit me 6 times. Like,
yeah.
yeah.
Oh, and then you go, man, I wish I had 5 of the Pokemon to do something about this. Oh well, I guess I'll just let you die. Sorry, bruh.
Well, I mean, the good thing is that you could just run away. You may not
Yeah,
want
but
to
I
run
have
away, but
6 Pokemon. Let me throw out my crew.
we
Anyway,
don't. We have
carry on.
honor. We do one-on-one battles.
All right, Wolf.
Carry on.
Let's hear
Wait,
it.
I got one more.
Oh, okay. My bad. Sorry.
Well, I got two more, but I got one more that I really want to go about. I call it the wildlife tracking because the it's mostly for the alphas. Like they seem very hit or miss on what it is that they'll do. So like this is very specifically with Hippodon because it goes underground. Like it aggroed me, but then it couldn't find me. It couldn't find me, but it could find me. Like they would always know exactly where I was, but they wouldn't fight me because I was like hiding. So it's like, all right, this doesn't make sense. Either you know where I am or you don't. And it's mostly happened with Hippodon a lot. So I don't know if that's just like a Hippodon thing where it's like it'll aggro me, can't find me, stop, but then come immediately back to where I am. And I'm just like, I don't understand what's happening here.
Could
I'm
it
gonna
just be an
justify.
awareness
This is
factor?
probably gonna be the only con that I'll justify. The idea of it finding you is that it knows the general idea of where you are, but it doesn't know your exact location. That's how I think Growlithe are, where they'll know the general idea of where you are, the vicinity, so they'll look in your direction, and sometimes the exclamation mark will go over their head, but they won't advance, or they'll run forward and jump back, run forward and jump back, because the idea of the AI is it knows you're hiding, it knows you're in that area, but it cannot exactly pinpoint. So it's like the hiding mechanic is fighting the seeking mechanic of the Pokemon. So the character's hiding mechanic is combating the Pokemon's seeking mechanic. So it's like the two mechanics aren't conversing properly.
Yeah,
But
no, that's why I said I think
yeah,
it's a Hippodon thing because he goes underground. Because like I'll move from where he was at or where I was at, and like he'll walk away and then he'll come to where I am now moved to. It's like this doesn't make sense. Like I've already moved now because that has happened where it's like I'll throw something and they'll run over to where I'm at and they'll look around, but then they'll go away. But for whatever reason, it just seemed to be like Hippodon. Like it was like I'd move and he would aggro again, come up to me, but then just stop, and that just kept happening.
I never ran into Hip Howdon personally. I just know that like when it comes to the other ones, um, with their stupid red glowing eyes, they'll
Yeah,
do that. They'll look in your like I've been trying to shiny hunt Growlithe. So there's a Perugly who's alpha or whatever they want to call that. And it will do that. It will look at me and it will stare me down, but it will not advance. And I think it's because either again, it's the hiding mechanic that is something, like maybe the two mechanics aren't conversing properly. But I
yeah,
look at it as the Pokemon knows where you are, but it doesn't know where you are. Like a trained dog can sniff out drugs on a bag or on a person, but it doesn't necessarily mean it knows exactly where the drugs are.
Right.
yeah,
It'll behave
So that's
defensively, but it won't advance because it's unsure.
because
yeah,
it's unsure. Yeah.
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 So
Stop.
that's probably the only thing I would say. Go
All
on.
right. My last thing is is getting tired or getting tired in quotes and climbing. So I don't know if anybody else has seen it. Is where like if you try to go up like even a little bit of a ledge, like your character just like kind of just like starts walking and tiptoeing. But
Yeah,
so
it's because it's like a steep incline.
yeah, but it's just like this hill is not that serious for you to be doing that
Well,
because you was full sprinting a second ago and then you just like stop.
uh, there's a reason why. There's
Yeah,
a reason why.
I know it's because they want me to use the Pokemon, but it's just
There you go.
really.
You
I
answered
know
your
that's the reason why, but it's just like the fact that it's in there like that because like you just immediately stop, like you just give up all momentum and start just tiptoeing. It's just like all right, this is very unnecessary. But
Yeah, that
also
that
like
kind of that kind of annoyed me as well because like there's little ledges that you should as a human being be able to jump on, but you
it's
need
exactly what I'm talking
word there
about.
to
Is
jump.
those
It's
ledges that
like
are just like, why are you doing this?
yeah, it's like that doesn't make any sense.
Yeah,
I feel like the character should have been able to have all the traits, with the exception of flying, but have all the traits, but just down to a minimum. They can't do it as well as the mount. So
oh, yeah,
if you have the mount,
your
you
boy
should be
can't
able to.
swim, and that drives me insane as well. Like he
Well,
can
I
tread
can't swim
water,
Um,
too.
but he
keep
can't
keep
swim.
going, keep going with your points because I have to mute my mic for like 5 minutes.
All right.
Okay, so yeah, I was a little upset that he couldn't swim as well. Because I just feel like the mounts are too well. The one mount that I have is too you're too dependent on it. So like a little ledge, I have to use Wordia just to jump, and it doesn't make any sense to me. I You should have the ability to jump in that game and maybe swim a little bit. If and places that you can't swim to, it should be like maybe high currents or like it should
Even if
be like
it's
a far depth
far,
of
that's
field.
fine. But it's just like
Yeah,
I'll be right next to well a little bit next to like the shoreline, and I'm just like if I can make it, I can make it. And he's like, nope, just sink. I was like, God damn it, man. If you wasn't treading water, like if he was actually like swimming, we probably would have made it. Because
yeah.
every
What I
once in a
do,
while, for where I'm at, I might fall into the water because I'm an idiot. And I was like, damn it. Well, I can at least get back, and then I can't because he doesn't move enough.
yeah. What I initially do is when I want to jump over like little streams of water or whatever, I use the mount to like propel me over, and then I'll still land in the water and then swim a little bit over to get to the shore. That's what I usually do. But it does suck that you can't swim for yourself and you can't jump for yourself either. It really sucks.
Yeah, and they'll be like mass like Gunnar was saying, just like they want you to use the mount Pokemons because like when they don't want you to like there's just like a giant massive invisible wall that like no you have to use something else to go through this because like there'll be jumps that I make with wood ear wide ear however you say it. It's like I should be able to make this but there's just like this wall and I'm just sliding down and I have to like just keep fighting with it until I'm able to get across or find that sweet spot where it'll let me cross. It's just like there's no reason for this to be in the way. Like I don't need to fly to get over this jump. Like I know I can make it. I've played enough games to know I can make this jump. But there's just some invisible force that's just like no. get the next mount or go around the long way. And it's like I don't want to go the long way. Please, just let me go across. Just want to see something real quick.
Yeah, I know you could do some weird jump strats, like kind of a la Skyrim style, where you kind of like jump enough, and there's that 1 pixel of rock that the deer's hooves will stick to. You can kind of
Yeah.
do that thing, but
Yeah,
it's 100% to use the Pokemon.
yeah,
100%.
that's what I do. I'll try to like Skyrim jump around, but
That's
I
an
feel like I don't have to because there'll be like little pocket ledges where I feel like I should be able to jump on top of that and then just like
yeah. That's another thing that kind of got me sick. Like that's why I advanced the game so much because I was tired of that. It's like, all right, let me get all the mounts, let me get surf, let me get fly, let me get climb, let me get all this shit so I'm not physically restricted, and then I beat the game.
post
Yeah, it's
game
like the
time.
character needs some HMs instead of the mounts.
Yeah, basically.
All right. So Wolf had to step away for a second. So Zeta, was there anything else you wanted to mention?
Trying to stall for time. Other than that, going back to the first thing I said was just you get tired while you're running, but there's no stamina gauge to indicate that you're tired. Like I know the character is tired
Yeah.
because he stops running, but it's just like, why do
If
you not
only
have?
there was another open world Nintendo game that had a visible stamina gauge.
Yeah, exactly. It's just like
Huh.
why is there no stamina gauge telling me that the character has gotten tired? And even if there was like an audio indicator to let me know, like, all right,
Um.
he's covered.
Oh, okay. Obviously, because there is an
Yeah,
audio
yeah,
indicator
there's an
when
audio
you get
indicator to say that
tired.
he's tired, but there's no
Yeah.
audio indicator to say that he's
Getting there.
like recovered his breath and he's
Yeah.
ready.
Yeah.
It's just like if you're gonna have it there, I understand with like at least on the when you're out in the open world with the Pokemon, but it's like when I'm in the town, just let
I
me
wish
run.
they just get because if I'm going to the farm, to the trader, to the Pokemon Ranch, to the headquarters, like just let me gotta go fast, or let me bust out my deer while I'm in the damn city.
Yeah, like I know I could just open the map and just quick teleport all over the place, but it's like the exact person I may need to talk to or deal with may not be where they leave me in front of, and sometimes I just don't want to open the map. It's like just let me run
You
there.
just
It's
want to
fine.
go there, yeah.
Yeah, like I don't want to have to open up 3 menus just to get to one spot where if I just had unlimited stamina, I'd just get there.
Yeah.
I agree.
But I still love the game. Still 10 out of 10. Nintendo, please. But yeah.
Send me Zelda merch. Okay, so I guess I'll go next
Yep.
because
Go ahead, Gunner.
okay,
Uh-oh.
I'm gonna
Uh-oh.
make it sound like I hate the game. I really don't. It just to me,
I mean, at this
vi-
point, we've all made it sound like we hate the game as we
yeah,
slowly
it
progress. Like,
violates a lot of RPG tenets. And okay, so I'm just gonna put some disclaimers out there. I'm gonna spoil the shit out of a lot of shit. So if you're listening and you don't want to hear this,
time to
probably
leave.
just look out in the video when my box stops. When I stop talking, and you can go to Wolf's Point. 'Cause I'm gonna
Okay,
spoil the
goodbye,
shit out of
everyone.
this game. Yeah, because I beat this game. I saw the credits scroll. Okay, so good stuff. It's kind of been mentioned. I'm not gonna repeat it. Catching Pokemon, one of the best things this game is. I think Pokemon needs to stay in this direction. If they go back to the whole fucking like, let's go down route whatever the fuck and go catch some Pokemon, I'm out again. Goodbye. Keep
Like,
Pokemon like this. Just
$5.
nah, I'm good. I stopped playing in Ruby Sapphire, came back X and Y, dropped it after a week. I'm not a hardcore Pokemon fan, and this game got me to care about Pokemon in more than just a spin-off sense. So the catching aspect, great. I agree. The amount that you need to capture in certain things, definitely padding because the story is like fucking 4 hours long. Um, so that's great. Movement is great. About the Pokemon, because you guys haven't gotten all of them yet. When you get all the Pokemon, there is seamless transition between moving from water to land. What I mean is, you start off as the deer and walk to a body of water that you can't get to, you will automatically need to switch to the fish. You do not need to do anything on your end. So if you
Wait,
run
wait,
in a,
wait, wait, wait. What kind of bullshit is that?
what do you mean?
Like, oh, so you have to acquire all the mounts in order to get that seamless transition? Or you're
Well,
saying like once you
no,
get
no, no. One as you get the
okay,
mount, as you get the mount.
okay, okay.
'Cause you guys minus Wolf only have the one mount. So when I'm on Wordier and I go to a river, it switches to the fish. When I cross the river and go back onto the mount on land, it switches back to Wordier. When I come up to a cliff, this is what Zeta was talking about. When I come up to a cliff, it automatically gives me the option to switch to a giant Weavile that I get to climb the cliff. Then I can switch back manually to the deer or stay as the Weevil because either way they both walk. And when I jump off a cliff, a button prompt comes up for me to automatically get onto the bird. So I can be running off a cliff with the deer, jump off the cliff, press A, and I switch to the bird. Like the
Okay.
transition between all the Pokemon in terms of movement is amazing. I cannot fault that. The bear, useless fucking mount.
Yeah, I was gonna say, where does Ursaluna fit in all of
I
this?
understand its purpose, but I've gotten mostly every rare item in the game, so unless this bitch is gonna pull out a Master Ball, I don't know the point of the bear. Because the bear moves slow until it pinpoints a digging area, then it
And it
speeds up.
runs.
Yeah, once it gets the digging item, it goes back to being this useless Pokemon. So I don't use him anymore because, like I said, I have all the rare items. Again, unless this chick is digging up Master Balls, she's useless to me.
Did
So
you? I don't know if
So
it does anything since you're in post game. I didn't mean to cut you off. Is the because I know you can dig up notes. I think it was because that's what I did. I dug up a note. So I don't know if that does anything or if you
I've
if you
gotten a couple notes. I haven't gotten a quest to like look for all the notes. So that might just be lore or it might be a quest that I haven't found yet. But minus certain quests, a lot of the quests aren't that useful. The only quests that are useful are to expand the shop. And if you're a hardcore metagame player, that's it because the clothing doesn't mean anything to you and the hairstyles don't mean anything to you. So it's literally the only quest you really need to care about is the one to advance your shop because that gives you access to more items. Okay, so that's the positives. Cons. The story is mediocre at best. Story's like 4 hours long. You can just beat it. They do put artificial roadblocks in terms of research levels. So if you wanted to just blow through the story, you can't because the captain will literally say you need to be 4-star to go to this new area.
oh
Now for
yeah.
people like Kong, he's not going to have that issue because she's just going to go, "Oh, you're already a 7-star. Carry on." But if you're going through the story, that's an artificial roadblock. And I get the point is capturing. That's the whole point in this game. Not everyone wants to play like that. So you have to kind of like balance that. So the people who want to go through the story, they get stopped by roadblocks saying you have to capture and hit a star level. Story itself, mediocre. I guess if you're a big fan of the Sinnoh region, it's gonna give you some like origins on certain things. Like these characters think they're playing. There's two groups, the Diamond and Pearl clan. They think they're praying to Almighty Sinnoh. They don't know that Palkia and Dalgia is what they're actually praying to. They find that out. Um, the post game story where and where I am in the game, there is no conclusion as to why Arceus kidnapped future boy or girl and threw him into past. You just live there now. Your character has no desire to return home. She's just like, I guess I'm 1,000 years in the past now. This is my life. I don't know because I haven't gotten to see Arceus yet. Because when Arceus said, see all Pokemon, he was not joking. In order to get to Arceus, you have to have every Pokemon at least rank 10 on the list. So you can't complete the game, really complete the game, until you capture all the Pokemon. So I haven't gotten to that part yet because I haven't caught them. But the grand conclusion, spoiler alert, so if anybody's got a problem, mute me now, is the stupid blonde haired guy that I believe Esoteric was like he could be a relation to what's her face.
Cynthia.
He is
Cynthia's.
Cynthia's descendant. He is
Oh,
Cynthia's
there you go.
descendant. Yeah.
Well, he's what he is a fucking Arceus fanboy, and I do not like him because his whole conclusion is that he was the one who caused the space-time rift to open because he made a deal with Giratina just because he wanted to see Arceus. He doesn't want to kill Arceus. He doesn't want to control Arceus. He doesn't want to reshape the world. He just wanted to see it. Dude, when I fought him, he literally was an Arceus cosplay. The guy had the color scheme of
You gotta be
Arceus.
shitting me.
No, I'm not. His hairstyle was modeled after Arceus's head. I'm like, am I really fighting a fucking OnlyFans simp right now? Is that my final boss?
Yep.
So
That's your
it's fucking it's the what you call it, kid in Majora's Mask. Like, yo, I just want a friend, bro. Like you're gonna
yeah,
kill anything for a friend.
yeah.
I
It's like I'm
mean,
fighting a simp.
you're fighting a religious fanatic. That's what it is.
Yeah, that's what he is. He's actually a religious fanatic. I'm assuming Gunnar didn't read the text, but
No, because all he said was like, "Oh, I'll take it from you by force. I'll take the plates from you by force if I have to," and then fucking walks away when I beat his Pokemon. You literally said you were gonna assault a 15-year-old to get these plates. Fucking try it. Assault me. But no, he
Wait a
walked
minute.
away.
Didn't he? Was he? If I'm not mistaken, was he one of the people that gave you a plate?
No, he was using you. He was
he
using you
was
to collect all the
using you.
plates.
Come on, it's
Okay.
foreshadowed. Think about it. Think
Yeah.
about it. When he said, there's a part in the story where he says, "Oh, you're collecting plates too." Foreshadowing number one. Oh, I see you got another plate. When you think about how you're getting the plates from specific special events that's going on. Like you get a plate when We're There accepts you as someone who can control it. You get a plate when any mount that you get, they give you a plate once they accept you. You get a plate on any special, major story event that happened. This dude is not getting plates because these are special events that's happening, and that's how your character is getting plates. So I automatically knew the moment he was like, "Oh yeah, you're collecting plates too." I was like, "This nigga's the final boss."
Well, remember, I'm not that far. I have the least
But
play time.
he says it in the beginning. Like after you get your first plate, the
Yeah, he
moment you
does.
run into him the next time, he says it. So like he gave himself away. That's how bad the story is. That in one line, in one text, what you read, you kind of know who your final person, who
Well,
the final
See,
boss is.
And then
like I
this is
Yeah.
why
knew.
Kong wanted it to be voiceovers.
Well, here's the thing. I knew that
But
he was going
even
to be
then,
a.
so whether he said it or whether he texted it or wrote it, no matter how it happened, that was it. You
I'm
know,
just
like
saying. I'm just saying he would have heard it literally if he had said it out, as
oh,
opposed
I
to
Well,
see what
relying
you're
on the
saying. I see
text.
what you're saying. I see what you're
well, there
saying.
would have been
Okay, yeah, I know.
inflection and emotion if he was a good voice actor. Yeah.
Well, let's not go too crazy now.
well,
I
what I
was
was.
saying it would be there.
Well, I only made a correlation to him being a descendant of Cynthia because of the hairstyle, the way he looked, and I figured he would be a major boss fight. I didn't think he would be like some religious fanatic. I didn't pay attention to that part. I
That's
was
fair.
Yeah,
more
he
so
is. Yeah,
speculating
Wolf is
based
giving
off
him too much
aesthetics.
credit. That motherfucker's a fanboy who just, oh, my Arceus is my bae. I want to see him.
No. All right, I'll let Gunnar finish his points and then I go on.
Yeah. Okay.
Go ahead,
So,
Gunnar.
story is mediocre. I'm not gonna say it's trash. It's trying because this Pokemon doesn't have the luxury of going, here's a bad story, but you have trainer battles. You can build your team and fight people on the internet. It doesn't have that. All it has is trading. So it has to have a halfway decent story because once I finish it and once I finish the post game, what the fuck else am I going to do? Not a whole lot. So story's mediocre. It needs a whole lot of work because my mantra in RPGs is either you better have a good story or a good battle system if you want me to forgive what you're lacking in the other. The battle system, I'm no Pokemon expert. All I did was just fucking super effective shit. I went through every trainer battle just super effectiving things, didn't do status effects, didn't do anything. It's like, oh, you're weak to fire, dead. Oh, you're weak to ice, dead. I was super over leveled because I was just capturing things and because everything levels off of everything.
Yeah.
I was usually 20 levels ahead of the trainer battles. So it was just like, I'm watching a YouTube video while one shotting this bitch. The final boss, dead, dead,
Uh,
dead, dead. Move along. Like,
Poor
there is,
Glaceon that got literally nuked and melted.
dude, I just fucking fire wheeled the Glaceon with my Flareon at the time, and it just dropped. I'm like, is that it? Is it gonna get up? Now, to be fair, Giratina has two forms when you fight him. I just super effected him twice. It didn't matter. Like, it wasn't like a Final Fantasy battle or a Xenoblade Chronicles 2 where it's like, oh shit, you're a super boss. It's, oh, let me see. Fucking Wolf was like, fuck this shit, I'm out. So it was like,
Done with this.
the battle system is almost non-existent. I don't know why it's just non-existent. And the fact that you can get jumped by 3 Pokemon, 4 Pokemon, there's no AoE moves, there's no ability for me to pull out any other Pokemon. So this one Pokemon with its inflated stats, because I don't know the nitty-gritty, I know they took out IVs and EVs and held items and replaced it with effort levels. So I know the Pokemon stats are inflated because it has to be in order to tackle 3 separate Pokemon. So why can't I just throw out my other Pokemon? Why do I have to 1v4? I don't know, but I
Living
do.
out your Yasuo dreams.
Yeah, it's like, but it's not fun. It's just let me get hit for 5 turns in a row, and then let me one shot one Pokemon because there's no AoE moves, and now I'm gonna get hit 3 times in a row. It's not it's not fun. Um, what else? I think that about wraps it up for me. The game's I'm not gonna say the game's amazing. That's not true. The game is good and it's a good foundation. I personally think Pokemon needs to stay on this route, and there's tons of room for improvement. Oh, I'm we talked about it a little bit. The graphics. There is zero reason why this looks like an upscale 3DS game. This is zero reason. This is fucking Pokemon. Just for some context, this game has already sold 1.4 million copies in Japan. Like this game is already making bank. Their previous entry, Diamond and Pearl. If I can find the article, I'm not gonna be able to find it. I'm gonna look like a fool.
You know what? I just looked at it too, so I can't even say it offhand.
Oh, DDSP has reached 13.9 million units has sold, and that game was a buggy fucking remake.
Yeah, it
You
was
telling
bad.
me You telling me Pokemon can't fucking expend a couple bucks to bring this shit to the modern era? And I don't want to hear that the Switch is weak. It's the weakest console. I don't want to hear that because another open world game, Shimigami Tensei 5, looks fucking amazing on the Switch. It's only for the Switch on the same console. You know why that is? Because this game got more than since SMT got more than 2 fucking years worth of development. SMT got 5 years in development and it shows. These games come out like Call of Duty, and maybe Pokemon needs to chill with that shit. Because what we're gonna get is the same game, just with slight changes. This game should have been in production for at least 4 years because this game could have looked just as good, if not better, as Breath of the Wild and SMT5. But we got what we got. I have to look at pixels while I'm surfing. Is what it is.
I don't
So,
even really. Because I don't know if they even need 4 years because like the the amount of money they have, they could probably just force through a team that can make
dude,
everything
like
better.
they can hire the best of the best and produce a top quality looking game, whether it's on the Switch or not. I mean, this is like the Pokemon company. They should have firsthand intimate knowledge of how the Switch works and what the Switch can do. This isn't some Ubisoft port. This is a first party game. It's only going to be on this console. Why does it still look like this? So I'm not cutting them any slack with that. I don't want to hear that shit. What it is Pokemon is like, oh, we're gonna take a chance. So they're gonna put so much money into this, and if it does badly, oh well, they go back to their old formula. So that's it. I sound like I shat all over this game, but I definitely do enjoy it. If you're on the fence about it, it's Pokemon, so I can't even say wait for a sale. Um, but
Nope.
yeah, but at the end of the day, if Pokemon stays on this route, I think they got something good here. They just need to go all out. Just stop pussyfooting around and go all out with it. Like pour as much money as you need and give as much development time as this game needs to make it the best thing it can be. But that's it. That's all I got. I ranted. My rant's over. I'm cleansed.
Got that on my system.
Yeah, because yeah. So
Hey,
if Mr. Wolf is ready, we can hear
um,
his take.
real quick before we go to
Yeah.
Wolf, because I know we talked about the story a couple of times, and I'll probably forget while it's still in my head now. I don't think they'll do it because I know you said about the improvements. I don't think they'll do it, but it was like one line that really stood out, and I was just like, I think I forgot which game Wolf said that they went a little bit dark, but I feel like this is the darkest that they've went is when the Galaxy Chief was just like, look, we came here to live on this land, and we're going to live here one way or another, heavily implying that look, if we got to kill all the Pokemon so that we can survive on this island, so be it.
I mean, yeah, it is pretty dark because when you first dropped from the sky, they were like, "Look, if you don't pass this test, we're kicking you out the village."
Yeah.
And if a Pikachu gnaws on your face, it's tough shit.
Yeah. That I expected, but I'm always used to that tough love stuff. But I wasn't used to like the actual guy just being like, "Look, we're going to live here. Like we are going to live here."
Yeah, when the fact that Arceus Simp told me
Mm.
he's willing to take my shit by force, I was like, "Oh shit, assault? Interesting."
Violence, I approve.
Then he walked away. But anyway, Wolf,
Yeah.
your turn.
So this game is based off of my favorite region of all the 8 eras of the Pokemon lore in the video games. So already right then and there is a pull or is a it's magnetic for me to want to play this game because I get all my favorite Pokemon in a new, I guess, way of going about playing, traditional or main story, mainline Pokemon games. That's one of the positives. I do agree with everybody else on what they like about the game. The fact that sneaking up on a Pokemon, hiding in the grass, or finding different ways of catching Pokemon, um, very fun and engaging and intuitive. I do like the alpha Pokemon because it gives you a specific challenge when it comes to catching Pokemon. And if you guys didn't know, in massive outbreaks, alpha Pokemon can spawn in the middle of that.
Did not know
That
that.
happened to me. Yes, that happened to me, and I had to boot my ass out of there because I was not prepared for that in any way, shape, or form. So, yes, alpha Pokemon can spawn in massive outbreaks, which I think is really cool. So the alpha Pokemon stuff I really like. The boss stuff I like as well. Um, I don't think the boss fights are necessarily challenging.
No.
Well, and I don't also think they're necessarily easy either. You have to have some kind of brain to actually get the fight done. But more or less, it's not something that's gonna be like, oh, this is it's there's no game changing bosses in this video game. Nothing really game changing about the bosses, in my personal opinion. But they're intuitive, they're fun. Um, at least for the 2 bosses that I've fought so far. I'm on my way for the third one. So I actually unlocked all 3 mounts, and I do agree with Gunnar. The mounting switch between the ground and the water, because that's all I have right now, is phenomenal.
Mm-hmm.
It it's perfect. Like I couldn't praise that mechanic more than I already do because not only do the mounts come out almost immediately, but to to transition between them with very little as like a flash on the screen and boom, you're on the fish swimming in the water. And then vice versa when you switch back to Weirdeer or Ursaluna if you want to use that. Um of the 3 mounts I have, Ursaluna I've only used once just to understand what the mechanic was like, and honestly I've never switched to it again.
No love
There's
for the
no
pair.
real point.
Yeah, there's no real point in using it as of right now. Like, obviously, I'm going to look into it and see if there is a point because, like, I cannot believe that they would just put in a mount just to be an item finder. Like, why didn't you just have Weird Deer's antennas do that? In my
Oh, that's a
personal
good point.
opinion,
Yeah.
you know?
Does he?
Um, so it's like, it didn't make any sense to me. I also love the fact that it's very I'm not gonna say it's an open world game. It doesn't feel like an open world game to me because I can't go anywhere I want at any given time on the map.
It's not
And
truly open world. I
right,
get what you're
it's
saying.
not
Yeah.
truly open world, but I do like the open space and environment that they do
Mm.
give you. I've watched some critical reviews about the game, and YouTuber will say, "Oh, the field is open and bland." But then you'll where they're showing or the clip they're showing, either A, they've already cleared the area of the Pokemon, so right then and there to me they're fishing for fit to say, or B, it's an area that legitimately doesn't have, or it's a small portion of the map that really doesn't have Pokemon. I have never loaded that game and while I'm out in the wild, never encountered a Pokemon in no more than 10 seconds apart from each other.
Oh yeah, they're all over the
So
place. Yeah.
I don't know where he bitched and complained about Pokemon not being on the map because I'm consistently running in them little motherfuckers to annoy the shit out of me. Um, I do love the different changes of their personalities. You know, you have some that's docile, you have some that's aggressive, and you have some that's more like a wild card. Blanca Kong, I almost threw my Switch trying to catch a Mr. Mime. That I turned it off and I loaded up YouTube and just started watching videos on YouTube for a little bit before I continued trying to catch one. And it was only one I was trying to catch. I just wanted one because I ran into it. And I was like, oh shit, let me go catch a Mr. No, no. That shit is a troll up the ass. It is a huge troll. I think that is the one Pokemon they designed and had the most fun with because they know people are gonna complain. Mr. Mime is a gay. Um, Either way, the whole premise of the game is very fresh. It's a new take on the game. It's different. I see a lot of Let's Go Pikachu, Sword and Shield, even with Diamond and Pearl. I see a lot of their latest games mixed into this. But the problem, which is now I'm going to start going into the cons, the problem with that is that they took a lot of good mechanics from each one of them, but they didn't perfect any of it, right? It's like how can I put it? It's
Jack
like
of all
what did they
trades,
call it? Right,
master of
it's like
none.
a exactly. They didn't master any of those mechanics. Like for instance, I love the fact that they added mounts. I appreciate the fact that they added mounts, and I also appreciate the fact that the mounts mechanic is the way they are. Here's the issue though. In Let's Go Pikachu or Eevee, whichever game you prefer to play, you could use almost any Pokemon as a mount. Almost. Not a lot, not all of them, but a good amount of them. Like I know Dragonite was a mount, Rapidash was a mount, Pidgeot was a mount. Um, if they were more sizable, if they were bigger, they most likely was a mount for you to get on. And I would have appreciated that a little bit more if, like, say, I could catch a Rapidash and use that as my mount. I mean, I can already throw the Pokemon out freely, but when you throw the Pokemon out freely, they'll show a little bit of their personality. Like Infernape being my number one favorite Pokemon, I just find it that is so cool. He'll sit down and just take a nap, right? Because it's just like in Japanese media, when you have a cool temperament or a bad boy temperament, you'll tend to take naps. Like Charizard took a nap against Pikachu when Ash sent him out when he went to the Kanto League in the anime. So it's more like an unruly yet cool kind of attitude that and then there's some that's really friendly, like Eevee. It will run up to you, it will engage with you, but you don't really do much. You talk to it, it makes a little sound, it makes a little animation, and then it stops. So it's like, yeah, I'm happy that they added that kind of fluff to the game, but that's all it really is. It's just fluff. It doesn't do anything. If I can summon my, I don't know, again, like I said, if I can summon Rapidash, walk up to it and press Y, and my character gets on top of it to run around the field, I would have been a little bit more appreciative of that. Even if Rapidash and any other ground, even if all the ground mounts operated the same exact way, all the water mounts operated the exact way, and all the air mounts operated the exact way. But that's me just complaining on an aesthetics level. Uh, the game is ugly. Okay, I don't know any Pokemon game that's good in graphics, anyways. So I guess I'm now numb to bad graphics when it comes to Pokemon games. Um, and then
I'd
there's the
argue that
sword.
Generation 3 has the best graphics for the time that it came out and still holds up well. That'd be Ruby
Yeah,
Sapphire
yeah,
Emerald,
Ruby.
Fire Red
Yeah,
Leaf Green. I'd argue that
yeah,
only for that generation.
yeah. I agree with that. And me and you had this conversation the other day that we feel like Gen 3 really took the Pokemon franchise, and like brought it to another level of expectation. I think it started with Gen 3. I
Absolutely.
believe you agree with me in that.
Yeah.
You know, and then from there, you know, 4, 5, and then it dropped again because I'm sorry, but the latest generations just are not holding up. Um, so for me, the graphics is it's whatever. I see what I'm doing and I can actively do what I want because I can see what I'm doing. So I'm not gonna hawk on it too much. Um, the story, yeah, the story is pretty bad. Again, I'm immune to it. I don't know any Pokemon game with an amazing story. I don't know. I haven't played much RPGs. Every single Tales game RPG that I've ever played, the story is ridiculous. Every single what's another constant RPG? Final Fantasy RPG game that I've played, the story is ridiculous. When it comes to RPGs in general, it's like throw your logic out the window and just realize that this is a fantasy world and stupid shit is gonna happen because either the characters are gonna do stupid shit and then stupid shit happens, or the villains are gonna do stupid shit and stupid shit happens. Like as much as I love Xenoblade 2, the story is stupid. It's pretty dumb. But that's just my personal take on RPGs. My personal take on RPGs is I'm expecting to go in with a ridiculous, mediocre, over the top, or underwhelming storyline with ridiculous, mediocre characters with ridiculous, mediocre ideologies. That's my take on Japanese RPGs, personally. Where I get my fun out of Japanese RPGs is what is my limitations on how I can either break the game or get around certain challenges or post game or stats building or character building. Those are all things that I feel like Japanese RPGs do very well, and for that, it keeps me in that realm or that genre of video games that I play. So for me, the story of Pokemon Arceus, I wasn't expecting a freaking, how can I put it, a movie, um S-rated or A-rated or top-rated kind of storyline. I was not expecting that. It's a very religious focused video game, which is honestly, to put it out there in such the forefront is a first that I understand in the franchise, to be so focusedly heavy on religion.
Black
One
and white.
side believed, oh yes, Black and White did believe in religion, didn't they?
Yeah.
You know, one side believing that Palkia, the was it the space god or whatever, let's just call it a space god, is, you know, is the actual ruler of the land, the actual um, you know, god of the land. And then the other side believing that, you know, Dalgia, who is the time god, is the actual ruler, and then the two of them couldn't get along. But what I also liked is that if you were to read the dialogue between the two of them, which is how I feel people should really. If you disagree with someone, it doesn't mean that you have to hate someone, and that is heavily expressed in that. So, for example, when Cleavor was going out of whack, which is the first boss, the that Cleavor, I believe, is Pearl's clan, is a Pokemon that's praised by the Pearl clan. The
Mhm.
Diamond clan stepped in and was like, "Listen, we may disagree on who is the true god of the land. However, this is a situation that is affecting your clan, and we will step in to help you as well." And I really did appreciate something like that because it shows that regardless of the differences in someone, you can doesn't mean that you can't help a person. You know, it added some humanity to the different clans, and I
There can
really
be
appreciate that.
solidarity
So
between tribes. Yeah.
exactly.
Yeah. I
So
agree.
I definitely appreciated that, and I was like, okay, well, damn, if everybody in the real world thought that way, maybe we would have peace, right? But
Peace doesn't
anyways,
make money.
yeah, I know. But anyways, you know, so I did appreciate that. I am tired of Pokemon games not having voiceovers. I'm over it. I am completely over it. Like that should be like a standard in video games, especially when you are holding the mantle that you hold. You understand what I'm saying? Like I believe in I believe it's 2016, something was put out where every automobile developed after that must have a backup camera. Why? Because the technology of automobiles at this time, they all can have backup cameras, which means that no matter what car you buy, if it's later than 2016, you should have a backup camera in it. That should be it, like when it comes down to like fucking Nintendo games, that should be the borderline minimum. Borderline minimum. If it's a high grade game, voiceovers, period. I'm okay with Link not talking because I get the idea of Link being the central character of the game. But they definitely fixed that with Zelda and everybody else with voiceovers. And to me, I didn't complain about it not one bit. It was
I enjoyed it
phenomenal.
thoroughly.
Right. It was phenomenal. Now we know Samus has said voiceovers in other M. She had lines in other M, not as much. But to have Samus in Dread speak blew my mind. It was phenomenal because now I know, okay, well, maybe they are establishing a voiceover for her or a voice actress for her to move forward in the games. This game has way too much reading in it, and I am someone who do read, but at the same time, it's just like, yo, like, why? I went 30 minutes in the beginning of just reading. Just reading. That's all we did through the whole game. If you're not reading, you're not understanding what's happening. And then and I can't even blame a player for not wanting to for not understanding what's happening because it's literally text after text after text after text after text. It's horrible. It's horrible. Like Pokemon is now at a certain point where, like Gunnar said, if you're gonna develop a Pokemon game every year, maybe you should stop. Maybe you
Yeah,
should slow down. Maybe you should develop the games to be better than what they are as of right now. Because ever since X and Y, it's been a very steep slope downward. And Arceus isn't really any better. Arceus is better than, say, Sword and Shield and the current ones, but it's not better in delivering the
it's
expectation that we, as at least me as a heavy Pokemon fan, is expecting of them.
it's better, but the bar was already so low then that it wasn't hard to be better.
Exactly. Like they didn't. They're not okay. Like you compared it to Shin Megami Tensei 5. Honestly, Shin Megami Tensei 5, I'm gonna say popularity or expectation from consumers isn't going to be as high as a Pokemon popularity or expectation from
Oh no,
consumers.
no.
So that company, Atlas, has to be more, they have to be more ambitious than what they would put out. But Atlas to me is always ambitious. And no matter what game they put out, they're very ambitious companies. It's a
Well,
very ambitious company.
I
I,
got a question in regards to that. Sorry to cut you off. Do you think it's because of it being a niche title and
I
like
think it's because of that.
and no, I was also going to say it could also be because of the fan base. The fan base takes no shit. So it's expected for them to bring a high quality game within the next iteration.
I don't
Cuz
think I don't think it's that necessarily the fan base not taking shit because to me the fan base is so small that for them they don't need to change as much of their games, right? Like we kind of talked about this in the gatekeeping podcast where the fan base has accepted the game for what it is. So when a new Shin Megami or Persona game come out, they can follow that formula so they know what to work on and then they can, build on other things. So you get better character development, you get I guess a more ambitious storyline, even though they're all ridiculous. um you get you know better graphics. There's things that they can work on because they know, okay, our fan base has already accepted the game for what it is. Now let's go back to say the Pokemon franchise, and I'm going to use Gunner as an example, and it's not an attack on Gunner, so I'm
Lying.
not attacking you, I'm just
He's
using you as an
lying. Why
example.
he's
Oh,
put up all this prep?
right? So the gunner says, okay, he wants to come into the Pokemon franchise, but he wants Pokemon to change the way he feels Pokemon should change. Doesn't necessarily mean that everybody feels that way. Can I deal with the new mechanic of Arceus? Yes, I can, but doesn't necessarily mean I want them to take away or break away from what I want, what I love about Pokemon, which is the competitive aspects of it. Chances are, Game Freak not being as ambitious as they used to be, I'm not going to get both in one game. I'm either going to get a very ambitious game where there's Pokemon running around, running into you constantly. You get the pretty graphics, but you know what? They had to compromise, so they took away the complexity of IV training or EV training or breeding or stuff like that, or trading or battling online and so forth and so forth. I don't think that Game Freak cares enough to want to combine both to make one amazing Pokemon game. Yeah, I think what they're doing is they either want to go this way with it or they're going to go this way with it.
I-
That company that
yeah,
company has grown to be so lazy to me.
yeah, that's the
Like,
thing. Like Pokemon prints money, and they have zero reason to care. It's like, oh, okay, we could drop Arceus and just go back to the formula and bring back effort training, bring back breeding, bring back held items, bring back all of that, and they're gonna make a shit ton of money. Like, they have
yeah,
no
they're gonna
they,
make their money regardless. But I do feel you when you say you don't like the old formula of Pokemon.
yeah, and
I get you on that.
yeah, and
Uh,
I understand that people love that. Like, I get you on that. So it's just like, that's where I steer away from the series, but I'm not like, change it now because I said so. But I know you didn't mean anything by that, but I am one of the better examples of someone who I don't that does not appeal to me. Like, that, none of that appeals to me. I have a million other options if I want to play competitive, but I love Pokemon, the concept of it, the lore, the actual creatures themselves. But you're right. Game Freak doesn't have to care. They don't have to.
I don't think they do care. I
No,
think
they
they're
don't.
very.
All right,
I
I
think
feel like I have to jump in.
Yeah, I was
So
gonna throw. I don't think they care about either of y'all because they're gonna get money no matter what.
so
right.
um, and I could be wrong, but I need to jump in now. So because you guys have said some interesting things and you said some things I don't agree with. So does Game Freak care? I think they care. If we
No, they
it,
don't.
it depends on who we're talking about.
They care to the
So
majority of
I
who
don't even think
okay,
they
accepts
care
their
about that.
games.
all right,
I
I
don't
let's
think
think
they
they
just
care at all.
okay. So let's
Okay.
be specific as to who we're talking about. Now, there's different because it's not one person or just a group of 10 people. This is hundreds of people we're talking about. If we're talking corporate, we're talking developers, we're talking artists, there's different departments that are under this umbrella of Game Freak. And when you say Game Freak, you're putting all these people in one category, and I don't think that's fair. So I think that there is passion from the developers, from the artists, from the music composers, from the guys who worked there since 1990 whatever the fuck, right, and had been working on Pokemon since the beginning. I believe that they care, right?
Yeah.
Because if you're gonna work listen, you talked for like 10 minutes straight. Let me just get
Okay,
this
it's
point
fine.
out, and then
Mhm.
you can rebuttal because we're already over time by like a lot, but that's okay because this is a Pokemon episode. I already knew that was gonna happen. I think that there is a level of care, but you guys have to understand that you said it. Pokemon has grown too big to fail. It doesn't really matter what they put out anymore. It's going to succeed,
Yeah.
whether you boycott it or not, right? That's a
Mhm.
reality we have to accept, and I think we all have accepted that, and that's
Yeah.
fine, right? Okay, now you have to understand that these guys have to spin an incredible amount of plates. They are in charge of a lot, and the expectations are, I think, insurmountable. Like they have to satisfy shareholders, they have to satisfy investors, which shareholders, investors, that could be, there's overlap there. They have to satisfy. I mean, I don't even want to sit here and count the different category of fans under the fandom of Pokemon. It's fucking retarded. I think Pokemon has the biggest fandom globally. I think there's no IP that can touch it in terms of different kind of fans, different age groups, different backgrounds, different, like different expectations,
Yeah, I can't really.
generation. It spans. It's crazy. I can't think of another TV show, movie franchise. Maybe you could argue like comic books, like Marvel or DC Comics. Like that's like
Not
the
even.
closest thing. But
Yeah, not even.
I don't even think that. I think Pokemon has surpassed Marvel and Disney, and I think it has. I don't
Nowadays?
know.
Oh yeah.
I'm
Yeah,
talking about today, right now, 2022. I think
Oh
yeah,
yeah.
comparing,
Yeah.
absolutely.
IP to revenue to like not longevity, not time, because Pokemon's existed only for about almost 30 years, while some of those other things I talked about existed for 50, 60 years. But
Oh
in
wow.
terms of success and amount of products, and Pokemon is a fucking juggernaut, and I think that's putting it lightly. So I wouldn't want to be the guy in charge of Pokemon because that must be the most stressful fucking job imaginable. I wouldn't have social media. I would have like 3 cell phones for different like tiers of people because it's too much stress. It's too much complaints. And I think the problem is, being a consumer, you're so quick to just kind of point, go, it's your fault, right? And I'm not saying that it's you guys, right? But I hear this a lot online, right? And because online forums, Twitter, places like that, it's so easy to just type something, right? And not even like really sit down and really think about what you're saying and who you're saying it about. Lazy, I think, is the wrong adjective. I think it's just too much for these guys to satisfy everyone. And they have certain deadlines and they listen, the games, they generate a lot of money. Pokemon as the IP generate more than 2 times the amount of money with TCGs, with toys, with merchandise, with television deals. They make way more money on that stuff than they do the video games. The video games is the advertisement for everything else. Let's be clear about that. And that information is public. You can look that up, right? But a lot of people don't think about that. A lot of people are just like, oh, the game needs to be better. Think of how much more money they'll make. Sure. You really think that these guys haven't thought of everything we're talking about? Like, of course they have. Like, come on. Of course they have. Like, sit down and really be honest with yourself. There are way smarter people than us or a lot of the Pokemon fandom who think they know everything. They don't know everything. Everything that we've said so far, everything that we will say, and everything that's been said on different online forums has been thought of. 100%. There's no way it hasn't been thought of, right? Are there design oversights? Could the games be better? Is there high expectations? Absolutely. But again, it goes back to it's too big to fail, and they have to satisfy certain categories of people, and some categories, the shareholders, the investors, the advertisers, they're more important than me.
So wouldn't you say that means that they don't care?
No, because you're putting you're I think you're pointing at the corporate, the suits who make the decisions, who fund the projects, with the people who
Oh yeah.
actually make it. You that I want that distinction to be clear because I don't think it's fair. And I think it's am I making sense here? Like, is this landing,
Makes
or
sense, but
am I
I feel
crazy?
no,
Here's
it makes
here's the
sense.
here's
I
the
don't think
thing.
it should be like separated because like we all know that the team making the games care, but they're like us. They're on the bottom of the list. We don't care that you care. We care about making money. So
Right.
make our
So
thing.
yes, if I'm complaining about Game Freak, it isn't the the kid who grew up wanting to animate for Pokemon, finally getting the job, getting into the
I'm not.
company.
Yeah, I'm not shitting on
Right.
him.
Like right.
I want
I
that
can't do
distinction
that
to
to
be
him.
made clear.
That's
That's
like
all,
that's
because
like if a customer comes into my job and starts complaining to me about
a policy
how
that you had nothing to do with.
right,
Right.
exactly. I don't make the policies. So I can't
Hmm.
bash the the
Developers
ground
and
of the company. I can
yeah.
only bash the heads. So fine, I'll make that distinction. Now
That's all I'm saying. To be fair,
here's my issue with Game Freak.
go for it.
And I posted this video in our thread. The director of Game Freak, or the whoever is in control, I forget his name. I don't even want to pronounce his name. Refuses to grow his company. He feels, and
That's
this is what
exactly what I was looking
feels,
for.
he feels that the smaller the company, the better the game, right? But here's what happens with that. And again, I'm not, some major investor, or I'm not some major businessman. So maybe he is right, because obviously to run a company, you have to understand how business works. So maybe he is right, but if he is right and he is doing it correctly, then his ambition for Pokemon games is very low. Where on the flip side, let's take a comparison of, say, Square Enix. Square Enix has 5,000 employees as of 2021. Game Freak has 167.
Hmm.
Now, you said that no other franchise is going to beat Pokemon in terms of relatability, popularity, whatever. I
Hmm.
completely agree with you on that.
Okay.
But Square Enix is ambitious enough to have these multitudes of people, these multitudes of departments, and mind you, when a Final Fantasy game comes out, and that's not the only game Square Enix makes, but it's the easy example to use.
Hmm.
When a Final Fantasy game comes out, it's a very ambitious game. They may not
Sure.
do anything that's groundbreaking, and yes, they of course they have their bad games. Final Fantasy 13, I'm looking at you. They have their bad games, of course, but they're ambitious. So because they're ambitious, they know, all right, we have these grounds that are set, and for it to be done in a timely fashion, we know we're going to need more people on the project. Why are you running a company of what we feel is the number one franchise in the entire world for the last 20 years with only 167 people?
To not lose
So
touch, because the bigger the company, the more soulless the product. Look at Ubisoft.
yeah,
Look at Assassin's Creed. Like those games got
yeah.
progressively worse with more people that they hired. And sure, the games look great and they hit certain fundamental pressure points, but they're still shit games because they're soulless. They're not. They don't have heart. And so that might be
But
his perspective.
mm,
It may
It
not
could
be. I
also,
don't know. It could just be
but
him
it can
penny
right.
also
pinching.
be
Here's
a.
I
here's
don't
what
know.
It could.
here's what I will say. Go on, Esoteric.
No, I was gonna say it can also be a correlation with time as well, because you can have a low amount of developers, but you would have to expand on the time in order to
That's
develop a good game.
that's
You know,
100%
so
what it is.
it's
Yeah,
different.
sure.
It's
Yeah, but
different correlations. You could have either a high number who can like pump shit out immediately and get a high quality game, or you can have a low number, which in Game Freak's thing they do have, but they don't extend that time. They're pushing out. They're pretty much pushing out games with the same people in a shorter amount of time, and I think that's where the
Yeah,
correlation between their
The
games
issue
being
lies.
shit.
yeah.
That's the issue,
So
you know. And
They're
but hold on,
treating
hold on.
Okay, yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, but let me finish. Also, in terms of ambition, we can look at that definition from two different scopes. They might lack ambition in terms of what we want the games to be or what they could potentially become, but they're looking at the ambition from a viewpoint of money. They're making a shit ton, so they're ambitious enough. That could be their viewpoint. You know what I'm saying? So, with that being said,
yeah.
yeah, they're if it ain't broke, don't fix it. They're like, okay, we're making a shit ton of money. This is the advertisement for our products. The advertisement is making enough money for us to build more content for, i.e., the toys, card game, etc. So in their mind, they're good. And unfortunately, the developers, they have no say. They're the first line of defense in terms of like
Mhm.
what it is that we like. But how many of us has worked for companies, brought in a shit ton of ideas that we felt was great, made a lot of sense, and then the higher ups is like, well, we'll sit on that, or you know what, you don't, this is a way above your pay grade, we'll take care of this.
Mhm.
It's a lot of shit like that happens, and it's unfortunate that I feel like it's happening in a company such as Game Freak. Undeniably so, it's definitely happening.
I'm not
It's a good point.
I can't I'm at a point where, and this is from someone who's played every single Pokemon mainline game, period,
mm,
extensively. And I'm at a point where it's just like, I won't say I'm done because I do love the franchise and I will give them my money because I want to support them. But
Yeah,
I'm at a point where it's just like you guys complained about the story and the graphics. I'm over that shit because I already know it's gonna be a shitty story. I already know it's gonna be shitty graphics. I already know there's gonna be shitty mechanics in it in some sense here and there.
yeah, you just want
So
your
it's like
core
for
Pokemon
me,
gameplay.
right, I just want my core Pokemon gameplay. So for me, and this is the point of view I'm taking from it is I'm at a point where it's just like, if me is going into this game as a consumer, and in the end of the day, I have to care about what the coins in my pocket, because all they care about the coins in their pocket. So
Mm-hmm.
who's caring about the coins in my pocket? So in the end of the day, if I'm going in and I expect to play a game, or to, as they like to use in today's age, waste my time on a video game, then I expect it to be ambitious, especially from something that is being held on a high standard or on a high pedestal as this particular franchise. Now, is Arceus a very, very, very bad game? No. Is it as bad as some YouTubers are talking about it? No. The
No,
way I look at it is that this is an experiment for them.
it is.
And people can say, oh, that's bad because it's an experiment. I think that's good because it's an
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
experiment. I think it's their way of saying, okay, well, we can't put out a poll like my job would do with with our customers. My job will put out a poll. My job has quality assurance, quality assurance kind of situations that happen. My job does all these different things to pull customers' opinions and then base their policies and procedures based on how they can best help their consumers. I
Yeah.
don't think video game companies get that option, right? Like when I buy a Pokemon game, I don't get a what's it called, a survey of how I feel about the game, right? Nothing is downloaded, or I don't get an email saying, okay, well, congratulations or thank you for downloading Pokemon or Mario or Zelda. Now here's a survey. Tell us about the game. I
Yeah.
think what's going to happen, I think, and this is only me thinking, is that the survey is how much money the game made. That's the survey, right? That's the survey that the big heads care about.
100%.
So
Agreed.
if Pokemon made well over what they invested, then their survey proved positive. And for that, as a consumer, I have to now look into it of where, okay, well, is this a good decision for me to invest into this product,
Mm-hmm.
or spend money into this product? Because now who's caring about my coins? I'm the only one who cares about my coin, right? So
Yeah.
that's where it kind of like frustrates me. And I know I went off on a rant about it, but in the end of the day, as much as I love this franchise, and as much as I don't want to give up on this franchise, I think it's many, 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 many variables that's happening here. One, I'm older, so this mediocre storyline or
That's a big
mediocre
one.
graphic stuff is going to stand out to me more.
Yeah.
I didn't like when I was playing Red and Blue as a 10-year-old, I didn't realize how flat or how straight, as new genres complain about. I didn't know how overly simple the Kanto region was. I didn't understand that. I was just happy that I got to throw out a Butterfree to fight a fucking, I don't know, Beedrill or something, right? I was happy with that. Um, but now when you get older and you realize it's like, oh shit, like Red and Blue really had a lot of issues with it. Do I still love those games? Of course I do. They're the foundation of my childhood. But but they have their issues. And I think
Mm-hmm.
that's with any kind of video game that we play at this age now. Another thing too that's also affecting it is me being older comes responsibility. Now, if I'm really gonna take my time after dealing with my family, after getting them settled, and I'm gonna spend an hour or two at night right before I go to bed to invest into a video game or play time into a video game, I expect my experience to be worth it. Now, I do understand I sound like some of these younger people who feel like, their time is overly
Respect my time.
valuable,
Respect
and
my time.
right, like I get I sound like that,
I mean,
but
it is to some degree. Yeah.
my valid reason is I'm a family man now. And in the end of the day, when the little time that I get that's free, if I'm gonna play a video game, I expect it to at
To have
least be on
value.
par. Exactly.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
that's where my frustration comes from.
I com-
Going. Mhm.
No, I'm sorry. My bad. I was gonna say I completely understand and I wholeheartedly agree with you.
Yeah.
I think where the delineation where everything derives from is the fact that Pokemon, and correct me if I'm wrong, Pokemon is not for us. You know what I'm saying? It's
No.
meant for children. So the same ideals that you had as a child, where you was
Kind of
like,
disagree
well,
with that.
Red and Blue is a great game.
I do too.
Um,
Yeah,
you
there's
think
a
so?
middle ground. No, there's a
I don't
middle
know.
Yeah,
ground with
I think
better
it's a middle
benefits for
ground.
I
children,
mean,
but
okay,
Yeah.
so Pokemon has implements within it that keeps, grown-ups, people who are older, captivated by it in terms of, like, the EV, IV training, the battling, that aspect of it. But I believe the majority of people who are purchasing these games are for children. They're not buying it themselves, but it's a bunch of parents who are buying.
Well, I mean, you could say that about Call of Duty, right? Call of Duty is an M-rated game, but who's really buying Call of Duty? When you get on the mic of Call of Duty, and 16 people, at least 12 of them is 12 years old.
No, that
So
is
it's like,
true, but the company's viewpoint on who should be playing these games and who they made it for, that can't be helped. Like, they made Call of, how can I explain it? They made Call of Duty for adults. However, they have no control over whoever plays it. It's the same thing with Pokemon. Like, the game was
Pokemon
created for
just happens to be
kids.
a kid's game. That's it. But like who they're intended for, I don't think it's actually for children because there would
I
be no real
disagree.
reason for them.
I think it's for
I
kids.
disagree.
I don't.
I mean, if you
I
go
think they
back to
just
what Wolf was saying about Red and Blue, and I'm the same way. I played it and I was like, this game is fucking. This is this game is the tits. Like, it's
yeah,
crazy, right? But like looking back at it now with older eyes, it's like, whoa. And taking design classes, like, I see a lot of the flaws, but a 10-year-old today playing Arceus, that kid's mind is being fucking
and
blown. My
and
mind is
that's what I
being
was
blown
and that's what I
playing
was
the
trying to
game.
allude to. That's what I was trying to allude
So
to, that, you know,
I
and when they get older and Arceus is like 20, 30 years old and they go back and play it, they're probably going to be like, this is
they're
shit.
going to
Like,
be
what was
having
I
this
playing as a
conversation that
kid?
we're having now.
I get that, but y'all speaking it from just like the base game. I'm talking about all the other stuff that they add into the Pokemon game. That if they just wanted it to be a kids game, there's no reason for them to add the rest of it stuff in there. Like they don't need to add the IVs, the EVs, all that other stuff in there.
Okay, well,
And they
that stuff is
consistently
in
add it.
there to, again, it goes back to what I said about spinning plates. They want everybody's money, but they want to make sure that their seeds are planted for the future so that they have to, prioritize the
it's
children.
a brilliant, it's a
You have to
ingenious
respect the
game
hustle.
plan. It's an
Yeah, I'm just saying
ingenious
it's
game
a good
plan.
intention, but I'm just saying like they
Yeah.
wouldn't need to do it. Like there's no real reason that they would
And
need
no
to be.
and no point did we say exclusively for kids.
Yeah.
We said primarily. There's a big difference.
The, and here's the thing
I
too.
don't.
And I'm sorry. I'm just gonna make one more point. Right. Here's another thing too. They're also trying to appease to a fan base that were, when they came out, were kids as well. So as we're growing, they're trying to put
Yeah.
certain, items in there to keep us interested, because we have I can't think of the word right now, but
Attachment.
it's,
Certain
yes, we have an
expectations.
attachment to the game. That wasn't the word I was looking for, but attachment is a good substitute. Um, we have an attachment to the game where we grew up as kids playing it. So anytime one comes out, we're more inclined to buy it because it's like, wow, this is what I played as a kid. So I think that's what they're also, trying to get us with as well. But primarily, I think it's made for kids who are coming up within the generations to, play those games.
I,
Yes,
I,
they
I
have
strongly
I
components for
disagree with that
adults,
because it
but
comes out every year, so I
I
can't
Yeah,
agree
see.
with that.
I see it on both ends. I definitely understand Zeta's point where there's too much complexities in Pokemon for it to be targeted, for kids directly. And that all depends on what you consider a kid. As a father, I consider my 16-year-old as a kid. But as an individual or as a businessman, you may consider a 16-year-old as a young adult, someone who can consciously make a decision to buy a video game or not. Whereas a kid kind of need a parental, a
yeah.
12 year
Your
old or an
your son is
11-year
not going to
old
get
will
anything
need.
without you taking him to the store.
Exactly. So I guess it all depends on the dynamic of what you consider a kid.
Hey, and if
Um,
they can get you and your kid to buy a copy, then hey, that's
then they
I
win,
mean that's a
right?
win.
The
Right. Then
So,
they
plus.
win.
all
But
right.
um,
Go ahead, finish your point, and then I wanted to add some improvements that I'd like to see, and then we could wrap up because we're
okay,
So be it.
well over.
yeah.
Um, and what I was saying was the Let's Go Pikachu and Let's Go Eevee to me is more geared towards children because of the many simplistic mechanics. that is into it. Now, if you take a regular game like BDSP or a regular Pokemon mainstream Pokemon game like BDSP or Sword and Shield, there to me, I think they're more geared to the young audience. Let's use that word, young audience, right? If they weren't geared towards it, they wouldn't support the tournaments that Pokemon has, right? Like the guy who does Smash Brothers, he does not support tournaments for Smash Brothers. He does not support Smash Brothers being a competitive game. That's why tripping was added into Smash Brothers to begin with, was to take away more of the competitive feel that a person can have playing the game specifically. So I think it's more to the young audience. And then because Pikachu is extremely cute, little girls and little boys are drawn to it. But at the same time, because there's a lot of grown-ups who grew up with the franchise for the last 20 plus years, they don't want to let go. So that's where you get the very young audience. That's when you get the very old audience. But it really, I feel Pokemon is designed for teenagers and young adults. That's what I feel
Okay.
because of the complexity that
That
they add.
I already made a note. That's gonna be a podcast topic on its own. Is Game Freak lazy? We'll do that because that's what this podcast morphed into. And I love the conversation. And I'm having fun talking
Arceus.
about it. But let's get back to Arceus. So
Yeah, sorry.
I'm gonna. It's okay. It's not your fault. It's this is coming from passionate people who are passionate
Is
about
what dialogue
this
does.
this particular IP. So, all right. So I'm gonna quickly just like fire spit some improvements or some changes that I'd like to see either implemented in this version of the game or in future installments. So trainer catching, level skill tree instead of leveling Pokemon levels. So when you catch a Pokemon, instead of just leveling up all your Pokemon's like levels for battling, there should be a trainer level that has a skill tree attached to where if you catch a certain Pokemon, if you catch a lot of rock Pokemon, you become more proficient at catching rock Pokemon. So if there's like a rare story Onyx or an alpha Onyx, your catch rate goes up a little bit, or something like that, like a skill tree of some kind, right? So that I think would be a great improvement. Pokemon type advantage research instead of current padding. So basically, if you catch a lot of bug Pokemon, right? Or not catch a lot of bug Pokemon. Rather, if you instead of having like, oh, we need you to do 25 of this move and we need you to do 40 agile style moves or whatever, like the arbitrary research task, have something to where discover the advantages and disadvantages of fire type Pokemon. So it encourages the player to go into fighting fire type Pokemon with different Pokemon to see what the different elements and how they interact with each other, increasing your Pokemon research, but also teaching the player about type advantage. I think that's important. And I think that'll be a good implementation if they were to do something like it. Character notes, a la Demon Souls, to teach other players. So as you're playing through the game and you're learning about different Pokemon behaviors, if you can leave a note where the Mr. Mime live, right, for other players online, they can pick up the notes and read it, research notes or whatever, and read and go, oh shit, okay, so Mr. Mime is a unique Pokemon. He's not timid and he's not aggressive. Try not to aggro him and try to sneak up on him or use Oran berries. Something like that, I think, would be great. Turf wars between Pokemon, that's not uncommon to Pokemon lore. Survivor and Zangoose come to mind. Like, they can totally do that because the Pokemon are already segmented. Some Pokemon kind of live amongst each other. Other Pokemon are like very separated, right? Having more interaction between the different mons, I think, would be cool. And then Pokemon levels unlock overworld abilities or unlocks alt animations. So instead of the Pokedex levels increasing your shiny odds, right, which is great, but it's not a universal thing. Like, not everybody's going to be a shiny hunter. Like, I don't see Gunner or Zeta going for shinies, right? They can have something to where if you want to unlock Rapidash as a mount Pokemon, right, you need to understand how Rapidashes move. So you need to research Rapidash animations or whatever, or use extreme speed with Rapidash 5 times in order to unlock him as a mount or something like that. Or alt animations, which is more work, so it's unlikely that that'll happen. But if a Pokemon masters Mach Punch, he'll unlock a new animation for Mach Punch, which would incentivize people to do all of the research tasks that are kind of repetitive because there's a reward at the end. That's it.
I agree with all of them.
That would make me more interested.
Yeah, I definitely agree with all of them.
Yeah.
Oh, and allowing you to throw your Pokeball when you're on a mount.
and
Yes.
or gather
I
stuff.
Yeah.
right, like why is that not there? Whatever.
That's the special function of the fish.
Yeah,
Wait,
the
what?
special
What?
yeah,
But you
the
can't do it
special.
on
So
land.
the fish has two special functions. It jumps and it slows down time when you're jumping, so you can throw pokeballs.
Yep. It's the only one that can do that.
But what about the Pokemon on land?
You could throw it from
What
the water.
about the Pokemon on land,
Yeah, I was just
Esoteric?
about
What
to say
about
that.
the
What about
Pokemon on land?
I'm just saying, like, you know what? Never mind. Whatever. Whatever.
All right, so cool. Any improvements or changes you guys would like to see, kind of like akin to what I was saying before we
Yes,
wrap up?
yes.
Go
I would
for it.
like to see them. I would like to see them fix the battle, the damage calculation. Damage calculation seems off in this game. Not necessarily with super effective moves, but regular base moves. I've lost my level 42 Samurai to a level 15 Ellie Kid using what's it called, cross chop. That didn't make any sense to me.
I mean, it
Um,
is super effective, but there's no stab, and the what 20 level difference? That's kind of
it's a
crazy.
20 level difference, and it killed him. I do agree with Gunnar that if I'm going to take on 5 Pokemon at a time, potentially either give me AoE moves with my one Pokemon or allow me to throw a second Pokemon
Yeah,
out
it's just makes
to
battles so much
support,
more tedious.
right, to support the idea. Also removing agile and strong style. I don't think it's a
I hate
mechanic
it.
that's even needed in the game. I
Yeah,
don't
I
think
don't like it
I
neither.
only use it because I have to complete Pokedex. Period. And I guess my final one will just be, just better animations on the moves of the Pokemon. Like I use Infernape, and when I do Thunder Punch, he jumps
And
forward,
he
which is
kicks.
nice, but he kicks.
Yeah.
I mean, yes, he's a monkey, and yes, he has 5 toes that look like hands, but it's still a kick. So it doesn't, I just want animations to match what the move describes. That's it. I'm done.
Um, I would say to piggyback on both you guys' points, pretty much all of that. In addition, I would like for Pokemon to be able to roam, like your Pokemon, to be able to roam free and follow you. And based upon what you're doing, like let's say if there's a couple of Pokemon within the vicinity, they can utilize their AI to like kind of attack them or push them away, repel them while you're trying to gather things and things of that nature. Like I feel like that would be cool. Like a little more free flow as opposed to you having to always throw them out and um that's when they battle. Um, the reason why I say this is because I was interacting with a Pokemon and there was some in the vicinity and I was getting attacked and the Pokemon was literally just sitting there watching me get attacked and it's like so you're just gonna watch me get my ass beat like that. So I wish they had some kind of
You good,
mechanic
Master?
where
Don't worry about it.
so I just wish they had some kind of mechanic where the Pokemon's AI would be like, okay, my trainer's in danger, let me intervene or intercept or something, you
Which
know.
will automatically trigger the battle. Which I mean, there's already not really a transition screen to fight anyway, so that's cool. That would be cool. Yeah,
All right,
I'm
is
done.
that a Telly?
Uh,
Anything you guys want to
I mean,
add?
the only thing would change is I disagree. I like the agility and strong style. I don't like that it just doesn't do anything. It just either makes you faster or just does more damage. I was really expecting them to add like
So
flare
how
and
you like something that doesn't do anything?
because I like the concept, but
Yeah, the
they just
concept is nice. The
Oh,
execution was poor.
yeah.
Yeah.
So I would prefer if they did something with that to like actually distinguish them other than just oh you may get to go faster or this will just hit harder or add more accuracy, but then you could still miss even though I'm at 100. Anyways, the only other thing that I like that I want them to keep and take on forever is because I don't think anybody said it is the moves. You don't have to go to a move deleter. There's no move tutorial. There's no nothing.
Oh
Everything is
yeah,
on the
that was
list.
I forgot about
great.
that.
Everything is
Yeah,
Yeah.
on the
yeah.
list. You just pick it, you swap them out, and
yep,
That's
that is
amazing.
yeah.
yep.
Yeah.
That was
So
that's
that
beautiful.
that needs to stay forever. If they ever take that out, I'm
I'm gonna be upset. I'm
oh
gonna be
yeah,
real upset.
yeah I am because you don't make gold like that and then just be low. No, never again.
That and mass box release.
Yes.
Like,
Yes.
They
those.
need to add the sorter. I need them to add a sort option, like sort by type, sort by, numerical order, sort by name, alphabetical order. Like they need to have a sort system. I like the multi multiple release aspect, but they need a sort system.
What
Yeah.
about you? What about you, Gunnar?
Well, after listening to you guys speak and kind of thinking, I'm never gonna get what I want from Pokemon.
Nope.
I want I want challenging super bosses. I want status effects to matter outside of um
The
competitive
battle.
play. I want
Oh,
battles to feel like I'm struggling. Like I'm not gonna get those things. I will never get those things. That's why I have Shimigami Tensei. That's why I have Persona, because I will get those things. I will get one shot by a pixie and I will enjoy it. So, taking that out because I know I'll never see that, what I want is what they're kind of starting with. I want a more interesting world. I want a more fleshed out world. I want a more developed relationship between people and Pokemon because they have some interesting side quests in Arceus, right? There's I don't, without getting into it, there's some interesting side quests that focus on the relations between people and Pokemon. I found that cool from a lore perspective. I personally, because I'm not gonna get what I want. I want an interesting story. Who knows if I'll ever see that? That's about the gist of it. Yeah, that's it. That's it. Cause yeah, I'm not gonna get what I want.
Okay. Well, maybe you will. And listen, there are ways to play a game to kind of manipulate it to play the way that you feel like it should have been. So like I'm thinking about like how I'm gonna replay this game in like a Nuzlocke type of way. I'm trying to figure that out. So and if
I
I
was
do
thinking
figure it
about that.
out, then I'll stream it and then you could check it out. And if you want to try the game that way, whatever way I decide to play it next time, then there you go. So
Fair
with
enough.
that being said, this was a great conversation, guys. I really enjoyed it. Apologies to anybody who's listened this much and this far. This has been a long one, but I kind of anticipated so as much. So anyway, if you want to hear more conversations like this, we do a weekly podcast every Wednesday at 12 p.m. is when they go up, and we tackle a variety of different topics, from JRPGs to fighting games to industry controversies to just opinion pieces. So subscribe if you want to see more of that. Like the video if you enjoyed the conversation. Comment down below with some opinions you have about Arceus or about Pokemon in general. We love to hear from you. What else? We also do 2-minute reviews, so those go up every Monday at 12 p.m. So check those out. We also stream on Twitch, so I stream under BlankaKong. I play mostly platformers and retro games and indie games. Right now I'm playing Kenna Bridge of Spirits, which is a fucking great game. So check me out there on Twitch. Esoteric right now is playing Arceus as of this recording, and I'm sure he will be when this is published. So check him out on Twitch as well under Logical Gamers TV. I think that's it. So Esoteric, can you tell the people where they can find us via the social media platforms?
Yes, so you can find us Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, Logical Gamers TV. Just look for the light bulb. We're also on a Discord as well as a TikTok. So yeah, say under the same name and same icon. So yeah, see y'all there.
All right, great. Well, guys, have a good night. We'll see you in the next one. Peace.
Peace.